call the regular session for the Hudsonville City
This
Commission to
conference
order
will now be recorded.
for February 9th, 2021. This is a virtual meeting. I ask that if you're not speaking, that you mute your line so we don't have feedback into the system. Before I do the roll call, I'd like a brief moment of silence. I contemplated this one extensively today and asked for advice. And it occurred to me I'd like to have a moment of silence for all my friends and colleagues that are in warmer climates, knowing they had to travel a long distance and they suffer from the heat and mosquitoes while we are here cool in Michigan. So a moment of silence for all my friends and colleagues, and may they have a safe journey back to Michigan. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioners, when you say that you're here, please also include the county and state and city that you're in. Commissioner Branson?
Here, Hudsonville, Ottawa County, State of Michigan.
Bullheis? DeVry?
I am here, Hudsonville, Ottawa County, Michigan.
Farrar?
Present, Hudsonville, Ottawa, State of Michigan.
Radering?
Palmetto, Manatee, Florida, and I'm present.
Seginga?
Present, currently in the city of Clearwater, Florida, and Pinellas County.
Mayor Northrop?
I'm present. I am at City Hall of the City of Hudsonville. Thank you, Diana. First on the agenda item are the consent items. There are 5 minutes of the City Commission regular session dated January 12th, minutes of the Planning Commission dated January 20th, minutes of the Personnel Committee dated January 11th, minutes of Terrace Square Advisory Board dated January 13th, and minutes of the Library Advisory Board dated January 19th. Is there a motion?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any changes to the consent agenda items? Hearing none, roll call, please, City Clerk.
Before I do roll call, Commissioner Bullheis, are you with us?
Sorry, I must have unmuted. Yes, City of Hudsonville, Ottawa County, Michigan.
Thank you so much. All right. Commissioner Larrar?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Bullheis?
Yes.
DeVry?
Yes.
Radering?
Yes.
Seginga?
Yes.
And Mayor Northrop?
Yes, consent agenda items are approved. Moving on to public comments. If there's anybody from the public that wishes to address the City Commission tonight, please state your name and your address. Hearing none, we will move on to new business. Item number 7, January Public Safety Statistical Reports. The fire department is up. Our deputy is to speak. Steve, you're on deck.
Very good. Thank you. For the month of January, we had 32 calls for service. 24 of those were medicals. The other 8 were fire-related type calls. The one of note is going to be the structure fire, and that was when we assisted Zeeland Township on the cutting edge fire a week ago Saturday. So that was probably the biggest event of the month. Otherwise, fairly quiet month.
Any questions for the deputy fire chief from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, this is Patrick. Steve, can you just spend a minute or two talking about the regional grant that you're applying for in the process of right now? I think that's noteworthy.
Yep, absolutely. So we had the opportunity here about 2 weeks ago to join in with 7 other departments in Ottawa County to apply for a FEMA grant. The FEMA grant that they're applying for is going to purchase new SCBA packs for their departments. And for us, it was a little earlier than what we planned on buying them. But if the grant is awarded, it will be quite a savings for us. Our portion of the grant is probably somewhere right around $140,000. Of that, we would be responsible for 10%. So if the grant is successful, we'll have quite the success there with getting what we need or will need shortly in the future at a much reduced cost.
Yeah, and that's shared with, I think, about more than a half a dozen other departments in Ottawa County, correct, Steve?
Correct. I think there's 8 total. Yep.
That's great.
That's good news. We're always about free money.
Yeah, and this was in our capital improvement plan, but it was pending a grant. So just want to commend the fire department on going after that and hopefully being successful in getting that equipment is much needed for those guys. So thank you.
Good job, Steve. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion from the commission? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Sheriff's Department. Is there a representative from the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department?
Good evening, it's Jeff Saginga. Pretty normal month for us. You can tell it's still a little bit during the COVID time. Our calls aren't as high as they normally would be, but they have definitely started to pick up this month as well. We've got a lot more calls this month starting average over last month. Tickets are down, but we are up on writing parking tickets. The city staff has been busy dealing with tickets that we've been writing for on-street parking between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. They wrote 19 of them last month, and I think they've got about 7 or 8 already this month. So they're trying to keep the roads clear for our guys, and they've been doing a good job. We have to credit our 2 new guys that they've been on the road for about a month in the city, and so far so good. They've been doing a real fantastic job for us. Other than that, I did attach some stats that you can see the differences in crashes between 2019 and 2020 if you're interested in reviewing those. And Ottawa County pairs right up with those stats as well. Other than that, pretty good month, and thanks for talking to me this evening.
Any questions or discussion from the commission for Jeff? Keep up the good work, Jeff. We appreciate all you do for the city and keeping our streets and neighborhoods safe. Moving on to the Emergency Management Department. Is a representative on the phone?
Yeah, good evening. I'm here. So as you can see from the report, quiet month for us as well, although quieter than both of the previous gentlemen reported. We basically focused on training. We've got a plan to get through the first quarter of this year, doing a few training classes online each month. And at the last meeting, we just kind of took a status, and everybody's working through those all right. Nobody's had any access issues or anything like that. Once we get into April, into the second quarter, we'll probably queue up another set of training just to take this opportunity to keep our skills sharp. Any questions?
Dave, how are you doing for PPE equipment with your team?
So for us, we each have some of our own PPE, basically gloves and masks, and we have hand sanitizer. I don't know if we have a lot of that, but we also don't use a lot. In our case, a lot of times if we end up having to go out to a scene, we, at a typical fire or accident scene, we're at an intersection, standing in our car or maybe sitting in it to keep warm, with very little direct interaction when we're up close. We're a lot of waving and pointing, and sometimes approaching the car to give directions, but we're not face to face like fire and law enforcement would be.
I guess this is a question for all the department heads in our public safety department. How are you doing for getting your COVID shots for your teams?
Yeah, I can speak for the fire department. Everybody has completed both round of shots, with the exception of 3 that have opted out for now. But otherwise, everybody else has completed both shots.
For the sheriff's office, it was offered starting last Thursday, and it was offered to the entire department to schedule through the health department. And then the second round of shots will be the first part of March for those that are getting it.
And for my team, we're technically not first responders, so we haven't come up on the list yet.
Any questions from the commissioners for Dave? Discussion?
Dave, can you share with the commissioners your recent request by Lou Hunt to fill the supplemental role for the county EOC?
Oh, yeah, sure. So Lou is the new emergency management director for Ottawa County. And as he's going through all of his department, making sure that each of his leads has a 3-deep command staff, he realized that he also himself needed to have a 3-deep command staff. And so he has tapped Chris Tinney and from Holland and also me and asked us if we could be his second and third levels of command respectively. So what that means is if there's an incident that is really requiring 24/7 operation of the EOC, he would be able to work in shifts. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to make sure that Hudsonville is taken care of. JJ, my deputy director, is definitely able to run the department if I had to go out to the county, but we'd make sure Hudsonville is taken care of, and then I could take a shift for Lou running the county EOC.
I just
That's
wanted
that's awesome.
that's the feather in the cap of Dave and his department to be asked to fill that role, and I just wanted the commissioners to be aware of that. So we're proud of him.
Thank you.
Anything else from the commission? Hearing none, thanks to our public safety department. We appreciate what they're doing, particularly this time of the year with the weather. Moving on to finance, item number 8, City Treasurer's monthly reports for December 2020. City Treasurer Caitlin, are you up?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. The first report we're going to review is the general fund summary report for December. And for percent budgeted of revenues, we're at 84.7% currently. And then for percent budgeted of expenditures, we're at 59.4%. The next report is the revenue summary. So that's going to be what we actually took in for the month. And we received $188,966. For the revenue to date with December, that brings us to a total of $3,407,785. For the expenditure summary, we expensed $321,561 in December. And year to date, that brings us to $2,374,562. Any questions on those reports?
It's always good when revenue exceeds expenditures.
Yes. Okay, so the next report we're going to review is the investment report for the month of December. I wanted to point out that we earned an average ratio of 1.65% on our investment, and we took in $4,606 of interest. Any questions on the investment report?
I just wanted to note there's been some chatter on my manager's listservs about everyone grumbling that rates are so low on investments. And there's a few communities that are really talking up the Michigan class investment pool as a way to go to try to better your odds. So kudos to Kayla, who was on top of that before a lot of other communities were aware of it. Everyone is struggling with the low rates of return, but she's done a really good job of positioning the city to put us in the best position we can for getting some yields.
The word is inflation's around the corner too, so we could see the rates go up. Nice job, Caitlin. Any questions for the city treasurer? Anything else, Caitlin, you want to bring up?
Nope.
Very good. Then we'll move on to payment of the bills. Item number 9. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to confirm the payment of the bills in the amount of $552,806.64 and to confirm payment of bills paid between meetings and reviewed by the Finance Committee.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions for the Finance Committee or the City Treasurer on the payment of the bills? Hearing none, roll call, please, City Clerk.
Commissioner Branson,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Bullheis,
Yes.
Larar,
Yes.
Radderink,
yes,
Steginga,
Yes.
Mayor Northrop.
Yes. Motion carries. Pay the bills. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, ACH funds distribution. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to confirm the funds distributed via automated clearinghouse in the amount of $201,602.98, which were distributed between meetings and reviewed by the city manager.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions on the ACH funds distribution for the Treasurer or the Finance Committee? Hearing none, roll call, please, City Clerk.
Branson,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Bullheis,
Yes.
Larar,
Yes.
Radderink,
yes,
Steginga,
Yes.
Mayor Northrop.
Yes. Motion carries. Distribute the funds. Moving on to administration. Item number 11, City Manager's Contract Amendment number 3. Is there a motion?
Personnel Committee did meet, and before I offer the motion, I just want to briefly update the commission. We had the opportunity to review the city manager's contract and made some minor language adjustments, nothing that impacted or impacts the level of compensation or the level of benefits at this point, but just a little cleanup of the language is all we did, and it worked out for the better. We also completed his performance review, so we had the opportunity to do that as well. So along with that, I will offer the motion to approve the attached third amendment to the employment agreement between the City of Hudsonville and Patrick B. Walker as drafted.
Support.
It's been moved and supported by the members of the Personnel Committee. Are there any questions or discussions from the City Commission? Patrick, I just might want to add before I call for the vote, we appreciate your leadership at City Hall. We understand, I believe you're in the 3rd year of a 5-year contract. I don't know what the future holds, but I look forward to your continued leadership at City Hall for years to come. Roll call, please, Diana.
Commissioner Steginga,
Yes.
Bullheis,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Larar,
Yes.
Radderink,
yes,
Mayor Northrop.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 12, property transfer affidavit fines. Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt the City of Hudsonville property transfer affidavit guidelines as drafted.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Josh, you want to just give us the quick 30-second update on this verbiage and why we're doing it?
Sure. The Michigan state law requires levying a fine for any property owner who does not timely file a property transfer affidavit. The fines are levied per day with different maximums depending on the classification of the property. Most of these are filed timely. The few that do not typically get filed timely are for transfers of ownership that have to do with like trusts, people quit claiming between spouses, things like that. that are not necessary for the creation of a quality assessment role. We don't feel that spending staff time chasing around documents that don't contribute to the quality of the assessment role is probably not a valid use of time. So we're updating the language here to allow the assessor's office to waive those if they're not necessary for our creation of the assessment role. For any of them that are still necessary for creation of the assessment role, we still then retain the ability to levy the fine if we need to use that persuasion to get the data that we need.
Josh, what was the impetus for this change? Was there something that came from the state?
So this is part of the assessing audit that is conducted by the state every year. Fortunately, all of the ones that were levied in the previous year for the year that was audited were billed appropriately. That equaled to one transfer of ownership that did not timely file.
Any other questions for the public assessor for Josh by the commissioners or Patrick?
Just one more comment to add, Mr. Mayor. I talked to Josh about this. Given that this is a fee, we're likely going to want to add it as a line item to our fee schedule. We can just reference that it be a fee that's in compliance with this state law, but nevertheless, our fee schedule should list all of our adopted fees. So I'll probably be coming back to you subsequently with an amendment to the fee schedule to include this.
Very good. Any other questions or discussion by the commission? Hearing none, roll call, please, City Clerk.
Commissioner Lerar,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Branson,
Yes.
Volheist,
Yes.
Radering,
yes,
Steginga,
Yes.
Mayor Northrop.
Yes, motion carries. Property transfer affidavit fines. Moving on to item number 13, poverty exemption guidelines. Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt the City of Hudsonville poverty exemption guidelines as drafted.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and supported. Josh, you got 30 seconds.
Sure. This was brought about by the Public Act 253 that was signed into law. It makes a few basic clarifications to the requirements of getting the poverty exemption. Mostly it puts the impetus on the Board of Review to make that decision. There was some lack of clarity in that law. It also takes away the Board of Review's ability to deviate from the federal poverty guidelines for what were considered compelling reasons. They now have to stick to those permanently. The final major change was the Board of Review previously could go to any percentage of applicability they determined the people qualified for. Now they have to stick to a 100% reduction, a 50% reduction, or a 25% reduction in taxes.
Any questions or discussions for the assessor by the commissioners or Patrick? Josh, appreciate you coming in tonight and joining the meeting. Roll call,
Absolutely.
please, Diana.
Thanks for having me.
Roll call, please, City Clerk.
All right, didn't realize I was muted. Commissioner Lerar,
Yes.
Branson,
Yeah.
Volheist,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Radering,
yes,
Steginga,
Yes.
Mayor Northrop.
Yes, poverty exemption guidelines passes. Thank you. Before I ask for the adjournment to the meeting, let's just kind of go down the list here. Patrick, you have anything you need to update the City Commission on?
Yeah, I just wanted to make the City Commission aware that the Lakeshore Habitat for Humanity did sign the purchase agreement for the property located on the south side of Prospect, the two homes, or one's a vacant lot, one home. So that's a good thing. We have a purchase agreement with them now that's signed, and they're expected to close on that property sometime between now and June, which means that effectively the DDA will sell that property and be able to pay back the city its loan of $110,000 plus approximately $10,000 in interest that it's accrued over the last 3 years for that loan. So good news for the city coffers, and it's good news to see that property get developed soon.
Thank you, Patrick. Commissioner Larry, anything you want to add tonight?
No, other than I'd like to express appreciation to our DPW crew that has worked tirelessly to keep our streets and sidewalks clear. They've done a great job and should be commended. And the rest of our staff for all what they've done. And Dave, congratulations. That is an honor to be selected.
And Larry, it's good to have you back. We missed you last month.
Thank you.
Commissioner Phil.
I would like to echo what Larry said. The DPW does an excellent job keeping things cleared off. And I'm guessing there was a water main issue yesterday because I saw one of our DPW's employees flushing a hydrant on Van Buren. And so, yeah, they just do a great job. Whole crew.
Thank you, Phil. Commissioner Dan.
Yeah, everybody said it pretty well. Welcome. Brain fart. Sorry. Larry, that's what I'm trying to say. Larry, welcome back. Glad everything went well. Also commend the DPW. I mean, it's been a pretty slow winter, but the last couple of weeks have been really nuts, and they've really done an outstanding job. So kudos to them.
Thank you, Dan. You're back in school full time, I assume?
Oh, yes. Things are rolling.
And you got your COVID shot?
Nope, not yet.
Notice his beard is gone.
His kids are back in school. That was my protest.
Commissioner Tobin.
Hello, everybody. The only thing I got to report is last week I attended an online Michigan Municipal League meeting regarding finance, municipal finance for the non-municipal finance people like myself. So it was very informative. It's basically just a 101 on why government entities have a different accounting process than private sector companies and how that differs. So it was interesting. We talked about different types of expenses that the cities would see coming before them, which are allowed or not allowed under the government style of recording versus private sector. And I think half the meeting went into a question and answer, which was didn't really do anything for me, but the first half was very informative. So if anybody wants notes on that, I took a few, plus I think I can get a PowerPoint presentation if anybody wants something to do in their free time, but that's all I got.
Thanks, Tobin. Appreciate you attending that conference. Commissioner Gregg.
I too would just like to reiterate our thanks to all of our staff, especially working through some of the weather issues that we have and all of those things that are affiliated with that. So just want to thank them for that, and to Mike and his crew for the great job they did on the front entryway. I think that turned out very, very nice, and really appreciate everybody's effort that went into that. So our Terrace Square board meets tomorrow, and we're going to try to keep that thing on track as best we can, in spite of the executive orders that we have to work around. So we're going to stay optimistic that we're going to be able to move forward there.
If I can add something on that vein, Greg, we had our weekly COVID update meeting this morning, and it was the first time in as long as I can remember that the news was very, very good in terms of the numbers being down. So I think if this trend continues, we may be seeing some relief at the end of this current MISHDA order, or Michigan Department of Health order of closure. So we'll keep you informed on that, obviously, but it was good news, and that's certainly going to be good news for Tara if we can start to open back up.
Thank you, Greg. Anything else? Commissioner Gary?
Yes, I don't know what the weather's like up there, but anyway, I want to thank everybody for all the things they're doing, and I'd just like to share some of the weather that we have with you. It was 80 degrees today and the sun was shining.
Well, Godspeed when you come home, sir. City Clerk Diana, you have anything you want to add?
All set. Thank you.
Hey, Diana, I just want to mention one thing. I know that you have had some FOIA requests of recent, and I think it's just as a matter of practice, I'd like to remind the commissioners whenever you're corresponding, what I typically always do when it involves the commissioners of City Hall is always to copy Patrick. So Patrick's repository of all of our communications in case there's a FOIA. That way I don't have to go through and search all my emails. And Patrick, you should be copied on everything we're corresponding on. If it's a confidential conversation, that should be done verbally between commissioners, but I just have to remind everybody that everything we do is public. You concur on that, Diana?
Yes, absolutely. Because text messages, emails, even if they're on personal computers, can be FOIA'd.
Yep. Thank you, Diana. Kaylin, you got anything else from the Treasurer's Department?
Kayla had to cut out a little early, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I guess the only other thing I want to mention to you is that the MML Capital Conference is in March, correct, Patrick?
Yep.
And that is a 2-day affair. Typically, we do it virtually from City Hall. I advise it's rather kind of enjoyable to just sit through that. It's not that cumbersome if the other commissioners would like to attend. I know that I have registered for it. I don't know if anybody else has yet, Diana.
Or just you and Patrick.
Okay. Finally, there are 3 commissioners whose terms will be coming due in November. There was an email that went out. The 3 of you would be Gary, Larry, and Dan. You have to file, I believe, is it April or May? Is that right, Diana?
April 20th.
April 20th.
Yep. I'm waiting for the county to get some forms that go in our nomination packets. I was told that I'll get those either later this week or early next week.
Very good.
So I'll
Thank
put a copy in your boxes once I get those.
And finally, Patrick, do you think we'll have our next city commission meeting in City Hall or not? March?
I don't want to jinx it, but again, I mean, if you go back to what I just said a minute ago, the way the trends are going, it's a strong possibility. So
actually, March we've already posted as virtual because we had to notice it about a month ago for the DDA public hearing. So
did
that
we
one
do
will
it
be
either
virtual.
or?
It was noticed as virtual.
Okay. I thought we
Because of the way because of the way the executive order was, the attorney suggested doing it the virtual since we still could do it at that point.
Okay.
Okay, so March will be virtual. April is to be determined. Final opportunity for anybody to speak to the city commission. Hearing nobody, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Ordered.
It's been moved and supported. I'll do a voice call here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.